Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. I am the time-travelling toy collector, and this is the Takara Tomy Hasbro Autobot Slammer. Slammer first appeared in the G1 range of Transformers figures as part of the Metroplex family, if you like. He was one of the units that was included with Generation 1 Metroplex, which remains one of my favourite figures. I got him for Christmas in the 1980s, and he has stayed in my heart ever since, along with Slammer, Six Gun and Scamper, his three component elements. And I'm thrilled to see that Autobot Slammer has now made his way into the Kingdom War for Cybertron trilogy figure range from Hasbro. And this is something I never really necessarily expected to see. He looks a bit odd in the box because I have had him out, because I'm sorry, how could I not have done? But you can see, first of all, let's look at the packaging. Here he is on the left in robot form, and he looks incredible. Well, I'm going to mention his robot form in a second, because I'm going to show you him alongside his Generation 1 compatriot. And there he is in tank mode, which is perhaps how most of us G1ers, or those of us who grew up with G1 figures, would recognise him. We certainly don't necessarily recognise him like this, but this is perhaps the figure we always wanted to have, but never quite managed to. But this, again, really keys into my belief that these figures were instrumental in generating and charging up the imagination of thousands of children of my childhood generation. So anyway, this is the front of the packaging with some wonderful artwork there. We'll flip to this side for some of that standard Kingdom War for Cybertron artwork there. There's the golden coin. There's some of the Beast Wars characters, Optimus, Bumblebee. As we go up, we can see some other familiar faces. The Decepticon spacecraft, which I believe is called the Nemesis, which is interestingly on the artwork there. And is that Unicron I see hiding up in the edge? I wonder if we're ever going to get to see this big old guy turning up in the new universe that is what has been the War for Cybertron trilogy and is now moving into the Legacy range. Anyway, fantastic packaging in terms of the artwork, as we're seeing again that reduced plastic window to make these much more environmentally friendly, as I understand it. Yeah, so Autobot Slammer looking great in action there in that illustration. I'm now going to crack him out of the box, because as lovely and as wonderful as the box is not for me the main attraction. We don't get really a posable diorama here with the figure. We do get one of those nice sticker cards, but we can worry about that and look at sticker card collections at a whole other time. That's not for us today, I don't think. Today we're looking at the man himself, and I'm just going to bring in a stand for him, because again, as he's a deluxe class, he's not a huge guy. I'm just going to sort of flex him out a bit, and I'm going to reposition slightly so you can get a better look at him. So let's bring him in nice and close. You can get a real good look at that head sculpt, and that upper torso. It's a really strong. You can see this guy means business. He's a really powerfully built Transformer. You do get some nice ball joint head articulation, as you would expect in a Kingdom figure. Again, you get articulation at the shoulders. There's no outward articulation, but you do get a bit of that at the bicep, and you also get some articulation ball joint, like a swivel joint there at the elbows, and that's true on both sides. I've taken the liberty of attaching the blaster, as you see him in the packaging, to his forearm. You can see here he does have molded in hands here. Let's see if you can see that in focus there. They're not particularly fantastic, but they are there nevertheless, which is, you know, far more than he had in his Generation 1 iteration. He wears his Autobot symbol with pride. He is, of course, and I say of course like you should know, but if you're a fan you probably do, but apologies if you don't. He is a modulator and a weaponiser figure, which basically means he falls apart and you can use those pieces to attach him to other Transformer characters to increase their effectiveness as warriors in the battlefield, which is an interesting evolution of the line, and an evolution of what figures can do and how they can work, and builds on the concepts of combiners, which is you know, not a new concept by any stretch of the imagination, but it's in terms of concepts from the G1 line, it's not something that I don't think would necessarily have overexcited me. I'm always, and this probably says more about me than my view of the range, but I'm also very mindful that I'm the sort of person that gets paranoid about losing parts. I once lost, when I was about 8, I lost the blaster from my Imperial Stormtrooper figure, and I lost him whilst I was playing in outside, using some, you know, real life environment to play in, and I lost it in some gravel and I couldn't find it. I was digging away looking for it, and it was a very upsetting experience for me, frankly, and it's obviously I've not been able to let that go. And I know that lots of characters had Imperial blasters from the original Palatoy Star Wars figures range. Thank you for shouting that at the screen. However, they weren't the Stormtroopers. They all had their own individual blaster. Yeah, I get it. I'm shutting up now. So yeah, talking back to present day, or future day, depending on how you look at it. We have this guy, and he has lots going on, lots of exciting detailing. Including in places you wouldn't necessarily see detailing normally. And again, all of these parts do come off. There are, within the instructions, there is very clearly ways of deconstructing him and using him to build up other figures. For the purposes of this video, I'm only going to look at him in robot form and his transformed tank mode, because that is what he, as the character Slammer, is for me known for. So that's where my heart lies. If I look at another Kingdom class figure in the future, which I say when, but I may bring him back in and use his weaponiser feature to dress that character up. Because again, as I've mentioned in other videos, I was never really a big fan of collecting Decepticon planes or Autobot cars in their original iteration, because the robots really didn't do it for me, because they were mostly clunky and couldn't move. So I wasn't a major fan of that aspect of the range. Other aspects definitely, that aspect not so much. But now that I see them being reborn through the War for Cybertron range, yeah, I'm kind of my enthusiasm and my excitement and curiosity, maybe nostalgia, maybe, is reignited. So I think I might acquire one or two of those, and then that gives us the perfect opportunity to play with this guy and those guys and gals too. Anyway, this was what this is how Slammer materializes now in this in our War for Cybertron iteration. I'm just going to pan down slightly so we can get more of him in shot. So he does have articulation at the hips, at the knees, and there is some minor articulation at the toes, at the feet really. That's predominantly to support with his transformations and weaponizing. But this is a solid figure. Let me show you him. This is Generation 1. Admittedly, I've gone down the whole upgrade route using the Toy Hack stickers, and if you look for my Generation 1 Metroplex video, you'll see the transformation that all of these guys went through. But I really love what Toy Hacks has done. I was very nervous, initially to interfere with G1 purity, as it were. But this is great. This is great. In terms of his ability to transform, for us, Generation 1 did that, and then he became a tower for Generation 1 Metroplex. I'm excited because this chap also has a tower mode for the Generations Metroplex, which some of you will know I recently acquired, and now that I've got all of the full family of Metroplex add-ons, I will now be much more content to share what he's like with you in an upcoming video, so watch out for that. In fact, if you are interested in that, why not subscribe to the channel right now while you're looking at this, and then you won't miss it. But yeah, so that was the extent of what Slammer could do. Of what Slammer could do. It was literally turned from the tank into a tower and back again. There was no robot mode. There was this. Much like Roller in G1 Optimus Prime, it was an extension of Metroplex, a companion piece to Metroplex, but it had no alternative robot mode. So fantastic, love little Slammer, but love that we've now got an actual Slammer that we can. This is the Slammer we absolutely dreamt of and deserved, and now we have. I mean, again, I'm just going to rotate him manually here so you can take in all of that detailing. And again, where you've got the tracks etc. at the back, they're detachable. They can become a weapon for Slammer. They can become like a chainsaw for Slammer. There's a lot of playability with this figure, and I can't express, much as I might try to, but I can't express my excitement for finally getting this chap in hand, and being able to see what he can look like in action, as it were. So without further ado, let's get him in action and transform him into tank mode. Don't touch that dial. And just like that, we have Autobot Slammer in his tank mode. And again, just for comparison purposes, here is his original G1 tank mode, which is, again, it didn't look at anything. It looks so much better with the all of the decals on it from Toy Hacks, I have to say, which lifts it significantly. But that's what we get there, with no turret rotation or elevation. This, I'm going to turn him around on his stand for now, but this is, and I have to say, and I'm finding myself very surprised that I'm saying this was a lot of fun to transform. I was dreading the modular, I'm not going to lie to you, I was dreading the modular element of this, because it comes apart. He doesn't just do a straightforward beep 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 transformation. You literally have to take the guy apart to put him back together again into his tank mode. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be fiddly, it's going to be a nightmare. It was so much fun, and as I was so surprised with how much fun it was. And in addition to that, you start to see other options that present themselves. For example, there's like a rolling gun platform that he becomes at one point during the transformation. I'm thinking, oh, I could use that in toy photography with, you know, some other figures. It's a type of toy that I would never have normally embraced. You know, and if it wasn't Slammer, I wouldn't have got one. I wouldn't have got a weaponiser modular type figure. So I'm so glad that I ignored my own prejudices and went ahead and got it. So again, here we can see that obviously we've got the main gun arrangement with the turrets. We have these wonderfully produced treads. There's a bit, now you can see there's a bit of a gap. So let's see if I can, just by demodulating him, you see, I got rid of that gap, so that's now gone. So now that's much better. So and that's kind of how this figure works. And I'm imagining other figures in that kind of concept work. They just come apart and you fit them together in different configurations. So I am now really quite excited to be playing with this guy and seeing what else I can do. And I really love as well this little feature here, because as I say, in the original version we had no maneuverability with the turret, but I'll be careful because obviously he comes apart, but there is a bit of elevation here. You do have to watch, and this is me showing you why, because it's very easy, given the nature of it being in parts, that it does come apart quite easily. So you do need to be relatively mindful and careful of that fact. But how fantastic! I love this figure. and I love that I got it, and I love how he transforms. And I'm looking forward to having him work with Metroplex. I don't know yet what the new tower formation is, and let me show you. I mean, let me bring him up here so you can get a much better look at some of that detailing. Yeah, so I don't know what that tower formation is, but I am reliably informed that it does exist. What's nice here, you can see that there are rollers built in, so you can actually give this this tank mode rollability, so it can engage, it can roll out into battle. But just look at that surface detailing. I mean, I know we saw it in the robot mode, but that's really something, isn't it? And there's various different molded in suggested tubes there, those hatches. There's also the hatches on there as you'd get in a tank for access. It's a lovely, well conceived, well thought through and brilliantly executed piece. Again, there's the underside, there's no obvious head, there's no obvious anything, but alongside that there's no obvious mechanism for how I then translate him into tower mode, so I'll be looking for that online. If any of you know how to do it, let me know in the comments, send me a message. I'm very eager to hear and eager to learn. Otherwise I'll be mucking about with him, but you know what, I don't mind mucking about with him either. Apologies, that's not part of the design, that's part of one of my dogs that's allowed its hair to float in the atmosphere. Beautiful gun barreling, you can see that it's scored, there's like carbon scoring there from where it's been deployed. You know, I mean, it's a small figure that, but it carries a lot of emotional wallop for me, because as I say, I come from a time when we didn't get this level of detailing and this level of playability with the figures. Yes, our imagination carried us through, and yes, I guess that's the point. And you've seen, and I'll just do it again just because it's just really fascinating for me to be able to do this, the differences between the G1 sort of static, that's what you see is what you get figure, and this rather wonderful Kingdom War for Cybertron version. Does he have a place in your collection? Well, really, that's for you to decide. Hopefully, having seen him in his two standard configurations, you're in a position to make an informed decision. I'll also try and do a couple of shots at the end of the video so you can see him in display mode. I'll be looking real soon at his compatriot in Metroplexville, 6-gun, who I also have. Who also is a weaponiser and a modulator, so we'll see how they fare together, but I'll be showing you that real soon on the channel, so do stick around. And then hopefully I'll be putting them both with Scamper and with Metroplex himself, and seeing how they interact and engage with Metroplex and his various iterations. Can't wait for that. That'll probably be quite the video when it comes out, because Metroplex is huge, and so in introducing these guys to Metroplex, I'm talking about Generations Metroplex. We may see a legacy Metroplex, who knows, a Titan class legacy Metroplex. Maybe they're sitting there in the future for us. There are murmurings, I understand, but it sounds like it's not going to be one of the city Transformers. It sounds like it's going to be something a bit in keeping with a previous iteration of Metroplex from one of the other multiversal lines of Transformer toys. Anyway, I don't care. I look forward to seeing what's coming. Anyway, now that I have Generations Metroplex, I'm going to have great fun situating these together, and I'm just grateful for that opportunity, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, thank you for spending the last 15-16 minutes with me. It's been an absolute joy. This figure has been an absolute joy to play with and transform and to show you. So I hope it's helped make a difference. If it has, do smash that like button. Similarly, as I've mentioned already, do subscribe to the channel so you never miss an upcoming video. And feel free to peruse some of my pre-existing playlists. There's some on Transformers and other genres as well. There's Star Trek, there's Doctor Who, there's Star Wars stuff, there's Marvel stuff, there's all kinds of stuff. Space 1999, for those of you familiar with that, lots of stuff to check out, and I really hope that you do find some time to go out and see some of those other playlists and other videos. In the meantime, it just left for me to say thank you very much. You have been a fantastic audience. I have been the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this has been the Takara Tomy Hasbro Autobot Slammer from the Kingdom War for Cybertron range. I look forward to seeing you in a future video, but until then, do please remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever, one to roll out.